Danger to My Heart, episode 18. Absolutely fantastic. Had me in tears. I was rooting on my boy. My boy got up on that stage. We hit on once again that extremely important message that Danger to My Heart has always been about. You can't love others unless you love yourself. Finally, Ichikawa literally up on that stage, loving himself. And it's so funny because it's like that whole scene of him walking onto that stage, which I think is just, I mean, yes, the whole scene with Yamada later on, we're going to get to that because that was incredible as well. So sorry, my hands are full. I can't hold anything else. Oh, it was so good. But no, just that scene of him getting on that stage and having that moment, it's goofy because like I literally tweeted that clip and I knew that most people, like those that don't know, are going to watch that and go, my gosh, that's just so funny because it's got a dude and he's so hot and he's up on that podium and he's like, I love you the most. But it's literally about Ichikawa loving himself. That is him. That personification of this hot guy is the guy from the manga from that first season, like way long time ago. It is Ichikawa himself, and he cannot love himself until that moment. And that was what gave him encouragement. I like that it almost emphasized the idea that he didn't do it with the help of others. He did it for himself. And so good. It's such a good episode. Oh, it had me like so teary-eyed seeing my boy up there just finally, again, accepting himself and saying the speech and how much in that speech is literally about himself. It's about Yamada. And yes, I think there's a bit in there that's about Nanjou. But yeah, let's just jump into it. Opening up the episode with him getting roped into this whole speech. I like how it literally is his own fault. It's literally Ichikawa's fault because he was gloating over Moika, and then Moika brought that up like, "Oh yeah, you're like second in the entire grade," and yeah, it was because he was gloating in front of her. But yeah, everybody kind of dogpiles on the situation, and it pretty much turns out to be him. No, he did technically agree to the rehearsal, and he was doing it because Yamada, but he ends up doing it and fails the rehearsal miserably. It's a little cute scene with Yamada trying to teach Ichikawa voicing. You gotta speak from the diaphragm. He's like, no, the diaphragm's up here. But it was so cute because this is like such a great little transition from the previous episode, because the previous episode was all about Ichikawa going to see Yamada working. He's going there to see her work hard. And in return, she's doing the same for him. You got to see me work hard. I want to see you work hard. I want to see you try hard. And it's almost like this, like, Ichikawa was so in his own mind, conflicted by the fact that everybody's working hard and he's a child. And it's almost as if Yamada knew that. It's almost as if Yamada knew that. It's just coincidence that she's like, you got to see me. Now I want to see you. I think that's a good thing. And that's what kind of culminates to the later part of this episode is her finally seeing, or at least seeing once again, because I think she's seen it before, seeing once again somebody that she likes working hard. It makes her proud. It makes her happy. That's the thing that she likes to see. And so he wanted to do this for her. And yes, technically kind of bumped a little bit by the fact that they overheard Nanjou being confessed to and him rejecting them and saying that they like Yamada, and Ichikawa basically saying, I gotta do something. I gotta show them all. I gotta show not only Yamada, but I also gotta show this guy. Show him that I'm somebody that can be proud of. Like, I think it's almost like one of those things where Ichikawa sees himself as a child. He sees himself as less than somebody like Nanjou. In the middle, there's Yamada. He's gonna take Yamada from me because I'm not working hard enough. So I gotta show him that I can have her. Like, I can do this. I'm somebody worthy of having some sort of respect. But yeah, that turns into the training montage. I love it. He's training in front of his mom, and she's sitting there staring at him like, stop staring at me. You said that it's not going to work unless I actually watch you. Oh yeah, I did see that. Sorry. And then yes, getting a nice expensive haircut. Sister jumping in there with the cream and the dehumidifier. Sister's so proud of her brother. It's so cute seeing how proud Kana is of Ichikawa. Literally going out of her way to buy a bunch of stuff for him and helping him out. And yes, the entire time just in tears because her boy is growing up. Kind of so great. And yeah, technically later on just jumping on the bike and just hauling butt out there to go see him. And then yes, eventually actually seeing him do the speech, which was fantastic. But yeah, the little training montage, gets his haircut. Looked pretty good. Looked pretty styling. But then yeah, goes to school. Kind of doesn't really work without the gel and stuff like that. I love how like Yamada's friends just kind of swarm on him. I like that little contrast he has. Like, man, 6 months ago, I could never imagine being in this situation. He's literally sitting in in a room full of girls, all just kind of talking about getting them all done up and stuff like that. The pompadour was great. But yes, eventually kind of going to, crap, I don't have my speech. This is not good. Almost giving up again. It sucks because it's like every time he gets that bump, he falls back again. He's human. He's human. It's not like he fixes immediately and he's still falling back. Crap, I don't have the speech. Maybe I should say something. I should give up. Yamada comes up. Please don't say I can do it. Please don't say I can see it. But then she says, you'll be all right. It's going to be okay. Take this. Hands over the little Inu. This is mine, but you can hold on to it. Just give you that courage, basically. But yeah, it was great. The speech scene. He goes there, says I should go tell the teacher. I don't have it. I can't do it. Sister's outside trying to get up there. I like how she goes to the front counter. We don't let public in here, but he's doing the speech. He's the representative. Isn't that great? She's like trying to talk about her brother to this person. Goes up on that stage, and here was the great moment because it's literally like everything around Ichikawa right now is that lack of confidence. And it was so interesting to kind of see that, yes, at some point he did have confidence. He's like, I've been on stage before. It was a stupid stage where he the signs for traffic safety, and he holds up his sign and it literally says on there, cars get hurt too. Like this one's like, look both ways while crossing. This one's like, be careful with roads. And this one's literally like, don't hurt the cars. It was so great. He actually won, which is kind of funny. But no, this was great because his inner self literally says, but that was you. It's not the old you. That's the real you. That's always been you. Who found the keychain? Remember who trusts you the most. Is your teacher? Is it your sister? Is it Yamada? No. It's me. And for those that don't know, yes, that is him. That is Ichikawa. That is his inner self. You've known all along, the one that likes you the most is me. I love when he grabs him, pulls him up close. Again, it's so yaoi, but because of what it represents, like I said, I just got massively teary-eyed. It's literally like, don't turn away. I love me the most. And again, it goes back to what we've been talking about for literally an entire season. It was like way back towards the later part of the first season. It's always about Ichikawa not loving himself. And the lack of being able to love himself, he can't have his confidence. He can't feel like he's worth anything. He can't have Yamada because he doesn't think he's worth it. He's trash. Nobody will ever like him. And now right here, the confidence that he needed was loving himself. And yet you can probably argue the reason why he did so well before was because he was full of himself. That's why he's like literally going, they're all trash. He's literally like, they're all insects in the crowd. It was because he had like this ego or something like that. And it played into this whole scenario. It's he needed to love himself, which yes, technically leads into him having that same goofy inner thing about them being insects out in the crowd. But still, in the end, the important thing here wasn't that Yamada gave him the courage. It wasn't that the teachers gave him the courage. It wasn't his sister saying, you could do it, little bro. It's none of that. It was Ichikawa that made it so that Ichikawa can do the speech. And I thought that was absolutely beautiful. Oh, it was so good. My boy Ichikawa did it. And the speech was good. He pretty much says the entire speech, which was wrote. It's all this aspect of moving on, moving to the future. It was a graduation ceremony. It's sending off these graduates and telling them, good luck and all that kind of stuff. But the moment that he forgets his script, it shifts into essentially Ichikawa talking about his situation in a way. It's a speech for the people, but it's also technically a speech for himself. And I think it's a speech for Yamada. And I think it's a speech for Nanjou. He starts off by saying that you're taking the first steps by yourself. You're accepting the fact that it's going to be scary, but you can't run away because you've seen the light already. And again, I think that because it's shooting right to Yamada. And it's like this idea of we're taking that first step. We both have realized what we see and we can't run away from it. Ichikawa is saying, I can't run away from you, Yamada. I've already seen it and I want it. It's scary, but I've taken the step already. And he's going into talking about new things, which we've already kind of talked about recently with him essentially doing things that he's never done before, new experiences and whatnot. And yes, finally, learning to love yourself. Treasure all the things you come to know. I love it. It's literally a speech for the people, but again, it's a speech for himself. And again, there is a brief moment where it shoots over to Nanjou, And he specifically talks about loving yourself. I think there is, despite the fact that Nanjou later on, when he comes in that room, that infirmary, and he makes that little off comment, and Ichikawa's like, yeah, those were empty words. It almost feels as if something sort of hit Nanjou here. I've always had that feeling that Nanjou somewhere deep inside might be a good person, but it just keeps hitting on this idea, this guy's a dirtbag. But every now and then, I think when he realizes that he's kind of lost, he doesn't really want to give up, but he's giving up. And again, towards the later part of this episode, it really did feel like he was trying to give Ichikawa a little bit of boost, which I'll get into, which they have technically, they skip something, which technically does give Nanjou a little more credit, which I'll get into in a minute. But yes, Ichikawa leaves, passes out. Teacher takes him to the infirmary. Yamada comes by there. And then immediately, it was sucked because Yamada was going to say something. She was like, that speech. And again, I think Yamada connected that some of that speech was between them. Like he was literally talking to Yamada. So she wanted to ask him about it. But unfortunately, yes, Nanjou comes walking in, wants to talk to Yamada. This is kind of one of those dirtbag moments because he literally goes, oh, Ichikawa's here too. Good speech, man. It really tugged at my heartstrings. Like, yeah, that's empty words. Says he wants to talk to Yamada. Yamada first brings up the fact that, yes, she's kind of seen Nanjou always watching the soccer games and whatnot, knows that he likes it. She kind of figured that he would, play soccer. Like, it looks like he likes it. We find out later on that, yes, Nanjou left the soccer team because he got injured. And it seems like that's why the girl likes her, which is based off the manga as well. But yes, this kind of flusters Nanjou, like, oh man, you're watching me. And he returns it to her. You're much cooler than me. You're going into movies and everything. It makes me happy to see you working hard. And Ichikawa recognizes this. Nanjou is just like me. Just like me, Nanjou respects her. Loves seeing her work hard. Really likes seeing that. Makes him happy, just like me. But Nanjou's taking the step before Ichikawa. He's saying it's something else. I love you. And Yamada, the great line, I know how you feel. Not that he likes you. Not that she likes you, Nanjou. Not that. But that she likes to see people work hard. Again, calling back to the fact that Yamada loved seeing Ichikawa up on that stage. She loved seeing him working hard for this whole speech. The thing that she wanted him to do. She wanted to see him do this. Additionally, she respects them and is afraid that they'll hate you. This was Yamada talking, obviously, about Ichikawa. Not so much relating to everything that Nanjou is saying. She's adding on to it before she gets into, when he goes with a button, sorry, my hands are full. It's literally her saying, I can't take your button. I already have somebody. I already like somebody. And yes, Ichikawa immediately, thankfully, immediately realizes that dog in her hands is from me. The person she's talking about, the reason her hands are full is because of me. Yamada likes me. Oh, it was so good. Oh man, it was so beautiful. Her just tears on her face. It was just like, Ichikawa, thank you. If you weren't going to get it this time, I'm going to be jumping to that screen and trying to hit you, man. It was so beautiful. It was such a beautiful scene because it is literally her saying, I like Ichikawa, without saying, I like Ichikawa. She literally connects everything with him. It is about that respect that she has for Ichikawa, too. What's so great about this is it's also an equalization. Because what we've been having for, like, the literally last two episodes, especially the last episode, what was Ichikawa's mind going into? It was going into the state of admiration of Yamada. Not so much that he can ever be good enough for Yamada, but that it's not love, it's admiration. I admire her. It was almost like he was totally taking like 3 steps back. He was losing his grip on a relationship with Yamada. And it's so great because here, Nanjou is repeating the same thing that Ichikawa was saying straight to Yamada's face. I admire you. You're a hard worker. It makes me happy seeing you work. Ichikawa says, that's exactly what I think. He's the same as me. Yamada says, I feel the same. You're happy when you see someone work hard. You respect them. Yamada is literally saying the same thing to Ichikawa. So they're the same. It's no longer a one-sided admiration. It's almost showing Ichikawa that that's a good thing. It's a good thing that you respect Yamada. It's a good thing that you like to see her work hard. These are good things. These aren't things that mean anything but actually love. So it was a kind of a nice little kind of wrap up of everything. This writer is so incredible. This writer is so incredible. But yes, Nanjou accepts his defeat. Goes to walk out the door. Now this is not in the manga. Says that I'll keep in contact with you. I got your contact info from the student rep, and Yamada immediately turns and says, "No, you didn't. Don't lie." I don't know why they added that in the anime. It kind of plays it out as almost if Nanjou's trying to make Yamada hate him. And it even says that when he walks out the door, and the girl's like, "Why'd you say that? Why are you trying to make her hate you?" But he doesn't reply to it. Immediately transitions into the thing that's also in the manga, which is basically saying, "Why didn't you tell her that you got injured playing soccer? Because then she would like me out of sympathy." And here's an additional thing from the manga. The girl replies, well, it has Moika speaking what she thinks the girl is thinking, which is that it's too late for me. Like, she is doing that. This other girl that likes Nanjou, that was outside the room, she likes Nanjou, or at least Moika's implying, she likes Nanjou because sympathy. Because he was a hard-working soccer player, got injured, can't play soccer anymore, and she felt bad. And she fell in love with him during that process. Anyway, it's fine, though. But yeah, the other additional thing that was in the manga they cut from the anime is that Nanjou sees the nurse. She was going to come into the infirmary, and he goes over and stops her because Nanjou's trying to make sure that Ichikawa and Yamada have some private time in there together. So he's stopping the teacher so that she doesn't go in there and interrupt them. And then immediately Ichikawa comes out the door, and then immediately Yamada comes out the door too, and they part ways. And he's like, "Wait, already you guys, you literally just got a chance to be alone with her. What are you doing?" So it is kind of a nice little wrap up to Nanjou. Like, he seemed like a dirtbag, like a fool of himself. He's a playboy. There's girls all around him, and he's just going out with girls left and right. But then he focused on Yamada. Yamada was the one that caught his eyes, and he wanted her bad. And yes, it was a lot to do with the same things that Ichikawa was going through, admiration. But in the end, he couldn't steal her heart. Ichikawa did. So he does give up. He does try to help Ichikawa in the end, which kind of redeems him a little bit. And the idea that he was trying to help Ichikawa out and having some private time with her after she literally just confessed to him in the same room. But yeah. Such a good episode. It was such a freaking good episode. I freaking cried over Ichikawa finally loving himself, and I got super emotional over Yamada just breaking down and saying that line, "My hands are full." It was so good. Such a beautiful, beautiful episode. Honestly, it feels like every single episode this season has been like a season finale. And I don't know how they can keep this up. I just don't know how they can keep this up. Unless by the end of the season, they end up, I don't know, in the bed together or something like that. I don't know what else they can do with this series. It's so incredible. So, yeah, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, make sure that like button down below, comment, let me know about the episode. Additionally, if you're new to the channel, make sure that subscribe button to get my content. I do news reviews, first impressions, top lists. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you want to support channel more, I have Patreon link, tips, links, everything's membership button down below. Greatly appreciate what it does. Y'all take care.